Four and 3 and 2 and 1. It's time for Fix My List.
Hello.
We're gonna do things and stuff.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do. Let's talk some lists, Brad. It's been a week. We had a balance data slate and everything drop. They kind of kicked my list or fixed my list to this week.
Boot.
But
we got booted.
Let's get going.
We got the boot. We were booted, unceremoniously booted.
Yeah, unfortunately, people wanted to hear about the balance data slate or the fate of the metagame. Or what am I even doing with my life? And questions such as that.
Get your priorities straight.
Yeah.
Brad's not on a stream. That stream is not the best stream.
That's probably true. That's probably true. But out of sheer jealousy, sometimes we take some for ourselves.
Jack, how old are you?
27.
Disappointing because this shirt is 1 year younger than you.
How old are you, Brad?
I am 50. I'll be 51 next month. I'm an old man. I'm aging in dog years too. With my health, I'm pretty sure it's 7 years for me. Let's do some. It makes me wise.
It does. It does. Wisdom stat off the charts. Although
I don't do anything with it.
No. At least you know what you're doing is stupid.
Let's talk about this crazy. You sent me a list here, and I was like, "This list just went. What is the anti-Brad? This is that list."
Yeah, this guy's a Chad. Like if you're in chat right now, give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a pat on the back because you just don't care. Like all the things. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm worried. Like, oh my God, oh, am I doing the right thing with my? No. You're going forward with 20 silver idiots, and your opponent is going to be powerless to do anything about it.
I mean, yeah, I'm at a loss for words. This is so anti-me that I have to get my chi together. Tell it's not going to hurt me. All right, so let's go over it. We got a brother chaplain. Words of power. Pyrrhic application. He's looking for those mortals.
Yep.
Brotherhood librarian. Vortex to do. Warp shaping. Changing stuff around. And, of course, dropping that big vortex on people.
Yep.
20 paladins. With every buff possible.
Yes. 20 hammers, just in case you were wondering. And 8 psi cannons. We will get back to that later, Mirage. I appreciate the sheer just bravado of it. I do. I really do. I saw your list and I was like, I have to put this on.
Wow. Ancient because why not? Apothecary because I'm spending 1,200 points in paladins that I should probably protect them.
Yeah.
So, and of course we got Gate and the Leandriel Sanctuary, and then we got 15 interceptors because there's I guess we should probably have somebody that does some of this trading scoring thing.
I mean, honestly, I'm slightly disappointed. I feel like you could have found the points for that third paladin unit. But so let me read his comments on it, or her comments on it. So where are we at?
Comment me, bro.
Comment me. Hey guys, always enjoy your insight on lists and play patterns. I hope you can help me on this one. Yes, I can be flattered, so it works. Prior to Nephilim, I had been placing top 3 regularly with this list in my local meta. This was originally a Rapier's detachment. In it, I originally had a Smash Grandmaster on foot. With the CP intensity of the previous design, the new changes certainly feels bad, so I pivoted to this instead. I believe he means Prescient Brethren. I'm not a fan of the Librarian in here, but others are core to my playstyle. Granted, some weapon loadouts and such could definitely be flexed. Any thoughts would be great since you have a better grasp of where those points can go. Thanks. Some notes, I will usually combat squad my 10-mans. In the case of the Paladins, I typically break out the special range weapons and the non-Paragons into a 5-man squad, and the rest into another squad. Well, if you are running 20 Paladins, I would agree that is definitely the way to do it. You want 4 units on the table instead of 2. So I do like that. But that being said, and Brad, feel free to let me know if you disagree with me in any way. 1,610 points functionally in 2 units is not where I'm looking to be.
I mean, dude, you already know that I'm having heart palpitations right now with this many points in one thing.
And that's before you look at the list.
Man. So, big thing about this is I'm worried about playstyle on this because we have multiple 6 objective missions, and we've got missions that are 2 for 4. Yeah. Those are the missions I'm worried about this, because when you can just sit on 2 objectives and just plan on clearing one, this list actually has play, like quite a bit of play. I'm a little worried about the 6 objective missions because if I'm looking at 20 paladins, my immediate thought is I will kill anything that's not 20 paladins, and I will just be everywhere that you're not. Splitting them up obviously is something that you have to do to counteract just that pure playstyle on this. Was he saying that he was putting all the guns in the off ones?
Yeah, so he would, when he combat squatted, he would put 4 side cannons and a storm bolter in one unit, and he would put just regular dudes with, I guess, hammers in another unit. So I think we can actually leave 20 paladins intact here.
Yeah, well, he said
a very good, I think a very valuable lesson in not over investing in a concept. So 20 paladins as a thing, as a concept, does not need to take up 1,610 points of your army. I know it costs, 1,180 or whatever the math says, but the support in there, the chaplain that only does that, the librarian that only, casts, vortex, we can make the librarian better. I have an idea there. But the ancient that just sits by and buffs paladins, and the Brotherhood Apothecary that just sits by and buffs paladins can be considered part of their cost.
True. My thing on this is that he said a couple of things were his core concept. So the paladins are the paladins. So what I'd like to do is, I kind of hate this librarian with a passion of 1,000 suns. Because of that fact, he could be other stuff. I mean, let's just get another unit. I like to
think of him as being other stuff. I would just rework how he's taken.
I mean, just don't even take him though. This is a patrol. Or it's a Vanguard.
This is a Vanguard. You don't have to take him. I do like a librarian if you take Psychic Epitome and then you take Vortex of Doom and Purifying Flame. That dude puts out a lot of mortals.
Agreed, but this armies are not really worried about that in the first place. This is already being Chad-tastic. This is things are damaging and they're buffed. So
yeah, 20 paladins don't need help being in the center of the board and grinding.
Exactly, Adam. It could be more paladins. I do agree with Lorenzo, man. We're gonna. I think we just remove the librarian period and just make it another squad.
So yeah, so I think one thing you don't need. I think you don't need all the guys having hammers. That can't be cheap. I think it's like 10 points a guy.
I'm not gonna lie. It looks really awesome though.
It looks cool as hell. I'm not here to tell you otherwise.
You're just like standing there going, what? Bring it. You want to get hit with a hammer, yo?
I think swords are enough, especially if you swap into hammer hand for reroll wounds. And then you can put a demon hammer on the sergeant, the paragon, who hits on 2s normally, so he would go back to hitting on 3s. I think that could work quite well. I don't think you need to drop. I think they are 10 points a model for it, because I believe it's 450 for 10 dudes, and I think side cannons are 10 points apiece. So I believe it is an extra 100 points a squad you're spending in hammers when you already clobber pretty much everything in combat anyway. Now, saying that, you don't the chaplain can give you reroll hits, but only if you don't go words of power. I do like Drago in this concept.
Man.
But, 20 paladins doesn't want more support characters.
Or do they want all of the support characters?
So
Demon Hammer is exactly 10 points, by the way.
Okay, so I am in favor of cutting 9 to 10 per unit. Because the concept of 20 paladins plus a couple supporting characters is dope. That's awesome.
List submitter is in chat.
Sick. Fate Stay Dreamer. All right, which kind of mixes well with Mirage. But I want to leave the 20 paladin concept intact. I think that totally is
He
has
said
play.
that
Is
was
fine.
like basically the base concept of the list when we read that. So, here? I need to know this before we even talk about the loadouts. Are these magnetized in or are they glued in?
Yeah, that would be a good thing to know, because if you drop 9 hammers or 10 hammers per unit, that's 180 to 200 points you just get back. And that would be so nice to have.
But yeah, the thing is, these guys are already smacking. I'd like to have a couple more hammers. I don't know if I just want one, but I would like to know from him if this is an option though, because these are, if he has to rip all his weapons off, this might not be a thing. They might not be glued. I mean, look,
They are glued. They're glued.
If you let Brad use your models, you'll magnetize all your models after a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, or you glue them together so hard that they'll never come apart. Yeah, so they're glued together, which is unfortunate. I would love to cut those hammers so bad.
Agreed.
Looking at that, other than that, I think if they're easy to swap by, please swap them, because you need those points back really bad.
How many hammers do you think we want though? Like, I know you want to go completely, and I want to have at least 2 because he's swapping these into 5s. I want a hammer per squad minimum.
I actually don't know if that's true. Hammer Hand is a great spell. Rerolling wounds on swords means you just cut through things.
I mean,
in combat.
True. I mean, 100%. But like, he does have 20 dudes with hammers, so I mean, he's used to running the hammers. He's smacking with the hammers. So if we're gonna go full loadout, I would at least give 2 hammers, 2 hammers.
Yeah. The one issue I have there is the Paladin Ancient feels necessary if you have the hammers, because then you're hitting on 4s. So the Paladin Ancient makes you hit on 3s.
Yeah, but we got 1 per.
I want to cut that Paladin Ancient real bad. And so
I mean, if you only have 1 hammer per 5, though, I'm not that worried about giving somebody buffing 1 guy per squad.
I get it. You could take 1 per 5. I think 1 per 5 is fine. That gets you 160 back.
Plus, it also looks, it's one dude like, with a hammer. It looks sweet.
That is true. It looks awesome. So that would get you back 160. And then I want to cut. I'm looking for things to cut so we can include more units.
Yeah, we
that
already
can support them.
I already put the ejector seat button into that librarian. He's gone in my mind. He doesn't even exist. He's dead to me.
Wow, that's rude.
Sorry, man. He already died. You gave me a Vanguard which only has 1 HQ as my minimum. And that guy was like, "Hey, look, it doesn't say any +1 on my invitation. So later, Gator."
Yeah. So Fate's Stay Dreamer. I know that the Ancient does do things for the Paladins. I'm not saying he doesn't. He does make them better, but at a certain point you have to stop and say they're good enough. I don't want to spend more points on this.
Are they good enough though?
I think they are. I think they are, buddy. The Apothecary I do actually like to leave in, although I would love to take Gate of Infinity off the Divination guy. I would love to put that on the Brotherhood Chaplain or something like that, because I think Gate of Infinity you're going to use like pretty much every turn, and I think that Divination is also something you're going to pretty much use every turn.
Agreed.
And then what? Yeah.
And Empiric Amplification I'm going to use like very infrequently just because it's so close.
Yeah. So 20 Paladins is still intact. So if we free up, it would be about 300 points, a little less. You can get that, that other 5 Interceptors in there. And you might be able to get, you could get a troop unit in there if you wanted to go patrol. If you cut the Librarian, as Brad is just completely
already dead.
Already dead, you might be able to add 5 Paladins, another 5 Paladins in there. And that just has 2 more units that can go and do other things on the board.
I just need more stuff here, because of the fact of the matter is, my counterplay to this list right now is I'm going to kill Interceptors, and then that's it. I mean, yeah.
I mean, honestly, you get really, really close to just getting another 10-man Paladin brick. And if you don't take any weapons.
That's also Chadtastic.
I mean, 30 Paladins is the coolest list I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, that is big dick. So If you have 30 paladins, I kind of want that to happen just because I've never seen that on the board.
Yeah, I mean, what is your opponent supposed to do if they bring any guns that are less than AP3 or AP4? Because you get two
Yeah,
up against AP3. Like, what are they supposed to do against
like
that?
most of it just bounces.
It's all OBSEC. It moves to objectives because you have Unyielding Anvil on somebody. Probably the Chaplain at that point. I honestly don't. The Chaplain's there for the hammers to reroll the hit. So
He's also got words of power, man.
he does have words of power. I
Mortals are
think
mortals,
Paladins
bro.
hit hard enough. That's my general idea here.
I mean, the only problem is that when you're dedicating the forces to this many paladins, the paladins have to actually do work. You know what I mean? So the buffs do make a difference.
I would rather have Drago over both of those HQs.
My
honestly.
man, Drake was expensive though.
He is expensive. He's 190, but he hits like a truck. So he's essentially a third, like another unit, not a third unit, like a fifth paladin unit. And he also casts 2 and knows 2, which is a big deal because you're running short on characters.
But the problem is then who has OBSEC?
It's a great question.
You have nobody with Anvil unless you're
So
just like
that-
slapping a warlord trait, a bonus on Drago. So
that's a great question. Actually, you got yourself there, Brad. Yeah.
my man.
Yeah. Lorenzo says you could remove all elites except for 2 units of 10 paladins, insert Drago or the other named dude with the demon sword, and go patrol. I'm not against a patrol, honestly. The problem is I like having an apothecary in there, and that's the point where you're like, oh, am I going double patrol? I could see going double patrol. You basically have the points for another 5 interceptors.
It's the same.
And
you double patrol just would make us get strikes.
yeah, strikes, deep strike. They hold objectives with OBSEC. Like, you just need something that holds a backfield that isn't 5 paladins.
But we need double HQ at that point in time. Who are we doing for our second HQ?
I mean, I do like a librarian in this build because hear me out. I know. They smite their way through a screen and then you teleport terminators where that screen was. It's very strong.
I mean, everybody can kind of do that, but yes.
Yeah.
The army can smite. So I would like,
True.
I mean, we also have Purifying Flame, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, you could take a Chaplain and Drago.
that's a lot of points and characters then. We just doubled our character points.
Yeah.
I wanted to get more stuff, not less stuff. I mean, I do literally like saying Drago, my man, 37 times when I play Grey Knights, though. So that makes me happy.
I feel like if you cut most of the hammers and the paladin, you get the points for 2 units of strikes to make it a double patrol, and to upgrade a character to Drago. I feel like you get that.
We need some OBSEC, and I would like those strikes in there because it gives us something that just comes down deep striking, stealing objectives. Just 20 Stormbolter shots is nothing to shake a stick at. You know what I mean?
Especially if you have Cybolt ammo. Cybolt ammo makes them hit. Like, honestly, you can keep a 10-man around just to fire 40 Cybolt ammo shots a turn.
I mean,
you have Drago rerolls,
any of the T3 armies hate seeing Cybolt ammo, or not Cybolt, or not even Cybolt, just literally Stormbolters, just a ton of shots.
Yeah, this army would wreck Eldar.
Yes.
you blow. They can't screen you because you blow apart the screens in the psychic phase, and then Gate of Infinity where the screen was,
and
then
drop 1,000 bolter shots.
Yeah, they can't keep their units safe and hit you at the same time, especially with their mobility nerfs.
Yeah. So if we get hammers out, we murder this librarian. I'd like some I'd like some more strikes and interceptors. I just need to be able to play the mission.
Yeah, that's really it. I want 5 more interceptors and I want some strikes. That's it. I mean, if we're going if we're going a Vanguard, I could see just taking Purifiers. They have access to the -1 damage strat, and then they also have Purifying Flame, which could take Purifying Flame off the Paladins. You could give them like Hammer Hand or something.
I mean, I just like Purifying Flame is a delightful spell. 3 mortals is just delightful.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if you have, you can switch into it on the Paladins first off, and second off, you can just have Purifiers there, and the Purifiers, no Purifying Flame, get +1 to cast it.
I'll give you that. I want 15-ish more bodies for sure.
Yeah, I think you can get that if you cut the Librarian, that's 105. If you cut 160 points of hammers, that's 265. If you cut the ancient, that's 380. 380 gets you, I believe, exactly 5 interceptors and 10 purifiers.
I was just about to say it, and I'm okay with that. To be honest, those guys are another hit, another attack. I like that. Let's do that. Let's do
that's probably what
it keeps the flavor, it keeps the core, you know what I mean? It keeps what he was playing before, and it allows for more ability to play mission. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I put Unyielding Anvil on the Chaplain, and I would call that a day.
Yeah, I agree. Personally. Let's do that. We're doing that.
All right.
You know what? I'm going down. Kit Smith.
Yeah, Kit Smith Hannah.
Tyranids.
Glad you like the changes to the list, Fates Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's look at this. We've got a Yormonger. Winged Hive Tyrant, Reaper. Troops, 10 Hormagaunts. We've got a Moloch. I feel he's so underrated.
Yeah, Molochs are still just really good.
Yeah, so
they didn't get hit by the points nerfs as far as I can tell.
No, it's still $1.25.
And they're OBSEC 5 models, and they can just show up an inch away from you on an objective and just be like, mine.
Double Tyranno effects. Hive Tyrant, this is a double patrol. Hive Tyrant walking. Bone Sword, Lash Whip, Neuroparasite, Balethorn Cannon, 10 Gargoyles, 3 Zoes, 2 Carnifex with the heavy venom cannons, 1 Biovore to be annoying, and a Spore Assist. So
there were a few NID lists in chat, and there were a few Chaos Knight lists in chat. So I picked one of each. There's spoiler alert: Chaos Knights is up next. But if we're looking at Corkin's list here, or Kit Smith Hannah, I mean, it's got some big boys, you know?
Oops. It does indeed. It does indeed. I noticed that I just chopped part of his name off there. Whoopsie.
Oops. You mean I chopped it off? You're in charge of the stream right now.
No, I chopped it off.
Oh, you chopped it off. You monster. Oh, Grotworks Mech Shop, don't think I wasn't hearing your comments from yesterday. I saw him. I'm coming after you.
Oh, I'll come after these
personally.
All right. Give me some notes on why it's Yormonger for. Besides making me screw up.
Jormungandr, I believe, has. I'm going to double check because I'm not the NIDS boy.
It's -1 to hit.
It's -1 to hit outside of, I believe, 18 for monsters. And then on top of that, there are 5 models OBSEC with Territorial Instincts, which you now have to declare on your list.
Adaptive is no longer adaptive, my friends.
That is right. It adapts between lists, not between games.
It adapts between tournaments, yeah. So apparently it takes a little bit longer for the Overmind to figure that out.
It's waking up, it takes a while in the morning.
Let's go with some basics. The Hormagaunts, I want the hell out of there. I just want 2 units of Gargoyles. Flying OBSEC is just so much better than not flying OBSEC.
That's where I'm at. I think there's like a combo with Hormagaunts, but I'm not John, so I don't know it.
There is, but it's just 10, so you're not really getting anything. So I just don't care. That's a big deal on that. So I would just rather you can just steal things away from people so easily all the time. With the Gargoyles, I just really like them a lot. I do love this single Biowar, by the way. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the single Biowar is great, especially for move blocks. Because while you fire the Spore Mine out and it doesn't technically move block and that your opponent can move through it, they can't land on top of it. And so if your opponent has a big base, you can really block them. A single Biovore can keep a knight basically pinned back really hard.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
nasty.
we also have Kit in chat. Hey, Kit, how's it going?
Woo-hoo!
What's happening? Yeah, so I love the single Biovore. It just messes with knights so hard. It messes with orcs so hard with the big bases. Because you can just drop the bomb down. So like the way it works, guys, is if this is your opponent's base, right? And they can move like 10 inches, let's say. You measure just so that like the back of their base just won't clear the Spore Mine if they move their full distance, which keeps them all the way back here. Like they only get to move like an inch or 2. And so it can really move block them, especially if they think that it can't. Like they're like, oh, I can move through spore mine. You're like, yeah, but you can't land on top of it. So there you go. Eat that. Love the biome.
I actually really like this list.
Yeah, it's full of big boys. Honestly, I like it.
Big
What I
boys, big
want,
boys that are OBSEC is the big deal.
yeah, I want, and I know it went up a lot, but I want a Maliceptor in here.
He's just so expensive, dude. 220 for that guy is just too much.
I hear you. I really do.
The -1, I know what you're getting at, because the -1 strength on everything, because there's so many big boys, means that he has huge value. But that's a lot of points to drop to fit this in, because this bad boy's barely squishing all this stuff in the first place.
Yeah, I know. It's more of a hope and a prayer and a dream, but
because with everything going up a bit, I mean, this is a list that just revolves around the big boys. So I'm just trying to think. I don't know how I still.
Which units is it missing, Kit? Apparently, it's missing units. I'm bad at my job. Oh yeah, I definitely left out Old One Eye in the Neurothroat. My bad.
Okay, Old One Eye makes a huge freaking difference. Jack.
Oh, Brad. Oh, I'm going through a tunnel. My internet, it's choppy.
I love the fact that I also put no editing when I fit this to the screen, so you can't even put this in. Old One Eye makes a huge difference. The Neuro actually doesn't make as much of a difference as Old One Eye does.
I mean, the cast on 3d6 picked the two highest.
It
just gets to give out. I'm assuming that he took that upgrade.
Well, I mean, if you're taking the Neuro, I feel like that's what he does, because you need to. Tiered secondaries are still kind of shit. So having the option for the Psychic secondary and doing it on 3d6 is a big deal. So
yeah, and being able to then cast relevant powers on 3d6 is also a big deal. I like that quite a lot. Let me look at this list. I'm pulling it up because, as I said, I'm bad at my.
It's no problem. I mean, you just you screwed about at 300 points. It's no big deal.
It's easy. 335 if you want to be like exactly. Yeah. So the Neurothrope actually doesn't have the thing to give two things cast on 3d6.
What?
Yeah. I'm assuming started to run out of CP, because Old One Eye has the 5-up Feel No Pain, which is
true.
Dope. Balethorn Cannon, I'm not 100% sure that you need, my man.
I was just about to say, I would definitely look to kill that. If there was an option of 3d6 cast in the Balethorn Cannon gets snapped in half and 3d6 cast comes in for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3d6 cast on one of them. The Warlord trait gives it to a second.
So I do like Double Tyrant, because you basically, everybody playing Tyranids, if you're going to take the Reaper Hive Tyrant, you have to go double Hive Tyrant at that point, because losing imperatives sucks.
Yeah, you can't lose. Every time you send the Winged Hive Tyrant in, you are risking something bad happening.
Yeah.
And if you're risking something bad happening and your one Hive Tyrant dies, suddenly you don't get Synaptic Imperatives, and it goes from bad to worse to catastrophic. So I do like having double Tyrant. Oh, it's in there because the heavy Venom Cannon is more expensive, and he wants a Gunrent.
I can see that.
So what you're tasking us with is cutting some points.
How tied to you are the Sporocyst? I don't not like it. I'm just saying.
I believe the Sporocyst is a monster. I believe it gets 5 models OBSEC. So that is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just get like another 2 Biovores out of it, or one Biovore.
That's kind of where I was, because we could get better guns, and then we could slam another Biovore in here for maximum irritation.
I also don't know if you need a Rupture Cannon on the Terran effects. You could just go double Acid Spray. I'm super down for that as well. The Acid Spray is vicious.
Rupture Cannon's fairly expensive. It's 15 or 20 points.
I think the Rupture Cannon. No, I think the base price of the model went down. The Rupture Cannon went up. Yeah, the Rupture Cannon is either, I think it's 20, and I think Acid Spray is 5.
Got it.
Yeah. So you could also, I mean, you could leave Dermic Symbiosis and Voracious Ammunition, sure. I personally would just cut the Rupture Cannon for Acid Spray again. I mean, John ruins me with Acid Sprays, but so maybe I'm a little biased, but whatever.
You're like, I've been touched by Acid Spray, and I like it.
In a bad way. And then the Balethorn Cannon becomes a Heavy Venom. You have 3 Heavy Venom Cannons, double Acid Spray. Your shooting's kind of on point at that point. And then they're both plus 20. Acid Spray's plus 20 as well. God, these new points changes are new, and there are certainly points changes. Let me look this up so I don't look like again like competitive.
Ugh, boo.
I agree. I agree.
I would like to get the good guns in there. I would mind another Biovore though. I'm not like, oh no, I just destroyed the universe.
Well, the Sporocyst, I mean, I don't think you need another Biovore when you have the Sporocyst, because the Sporocyst summons, I believe, 5 a turn. So, like, that is quite a lot. Where are these points changes?
I've got so many documents up. But I'm just debating on what I want. I do want the other gargoyles, though. So let's go with that.
Imperial Knights came out with an FAQ today.
Oh no.
Oh no. All right. Yeah, this is you're getting that pure Jack and Brad today.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, Terrain Effects is 170, Acid Spray is 20, Rupture Cannon is 20. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yikes. So the yeah, I mean you could take you could take double Rupture Cannon, you could take double Acid Spray. They're both still good. Acid Spray went up 15, my man. Rupture Cannon for 190 is pretty solid. I don't hate that. I don't think you need Voracious Ammunition on it. I believe that's the one that does an extra D3 mortals. And if you're firing like a 3-shot gun, I don't think you need D3 mortals on the end if it's like 1,000,000 damage.
I mean, I'd like to get the Hive Tyrant, the Walking Hive Tyrant, a better gun, and I'd like to... Sporocyst does make guys, so screw it.
Yeah, it makes 6 every turn.
Yeah. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate any of this. I mean, the list is really good right now. I mean, for sure, I'd like to change Hormagaunts to Gargoyles because Fly is so strong. But
yeah,
besides that, I really just want to get a different loadout on the walking guy. And that's about it.
I think the points are off on this. Acid Spray plus Dermic Symbiosis should be 215 because Dermic Symbiosis is 25. And Voracious Ammunition, I think that one is correct. Yeah, it's 15. So maybe this is D3 mortals are mostly used to the Stinger Salvo. That's fair. I just want to cut points to make this Balethorn Cannon a Heavy Venom Cannon.
Yep, same thing.
You could consider cutting the single Biovore. I know we were just talking about how good it is. You do have the Sporocyst. I mean, it doesn't put it anywhere on the board, so I do like the single Biovore. Looking at it, Synaptic Enhancement is 10. Let's see how much you need. I have the points open now. So Heavy Venom Cannon makes him 195. Bone Sword Lash Whip. And then I'm assuming you have Toxin Sacs or something on him, because right now he's 195 with, I believe you have Toxin Sacs on it. So that would mean you need 5 points to make the Heavy Venom Cannon, the Stranglethorn Cannon, into a Heavy Venom Cannon.
I really want the Heavy Venom Cannon, for sure.
Yeah. Finding 5 points, I don't think should be that hard. I mean, Dermic Symbiosis is 25. I think you can cut.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a couple buffs on this, so I don't know if we need it on that. Obviously, we need Enhanced Senses. We need Venom Cannon, Seven Talons. I mean, this is a big boy list that's just running around with big boy stuff, doing big boy things. So,
the real question is, I guess, could we go patrol Vanguard and just be like, or patrol, whatever the heavy support one is, Spearhead. Could you go patrol Spearhead and just start at 0?
I mean, this is very close to being just a battalion in the first place if we didn't have 4 heavies, by the way. So...
yeah, I mean... But
the thing is, we need the double Tyrant, so that's why we're double patrol.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, if you think you can swing a patrol Spearhead, that's probably the direction I would go with this.
I don't really want to lose the Gargoyles, though. They're so useful.
And you and John both love Gargoyles.
Because it's literally flying OBSEC troops, man.
Whatever.
They open up so many things.
Just crump your opponent with big boys.
You still have to score and do secondaries, man.
Just crump them with big lads.
You're like, I tabled you, and I lost by 20. Damn it. I should have probably looked at secondaries.
I mean, just mess them up. Just slap them silly.
We're going double Gargoyles here. We want a real weapon in the Hive Tyrant. That's literally where I got from this talk.
Yeah, the problem is, how are we doing that? Where are we finding 5 points, my dude? I mean, I
Yes,
think it is Dermic Symbiosis goes on the Terran effects. That's 25 points.
probably.
I mean, it is good. It is good. But 25 points? I
I
mean,
mean,
you could put the rupture cannon on that guy and just use a range to keep him safe, honestly, half the time.
I just don't like the Hive Tyrant, the walking Hive Tyrant running around with that freaking Walmart ass gun.
It's a heavy venom cannon I got on Wish. I mean, it is a relic.
It's it,
No. The wolf, the one with voracious ammunition is fine. It's the one above it, the acid spray dermic symbiosis one. I believe that was just a typo.
so maybe you should use Nephilim points.
I have Nephilim points up right now. It is 190 for a Terran effects with acid spray. Dermic symbiosis is 25. So that's, you know. Anyway, I would probably cut dermic symbiosis. That's personally what I would do, or maybe voracious ammunition. Probably
Gun,
voracious ammunition. I would rather have the defensive buff over the offensive one.
big boy gun, gargoyles, no harmagons. I like your list, brother. A lot, actually. This is one of the favorite lists I've seen. I love just big boy stuff to smash.
It's just big boys running forward and doing big boy things. That's the only thing I would do. Is I would get the Neurothrope that is totally in the list. I would get it the double give out the 3d6, pick the two highest, and I would.
Old One Eye's a boss too, dude. He's got some of the best lore in the game.
Old One Eye is dope. He's super cool. He's a character with 9 wounds for some reason. And he has 5 of Feel No Pain -1. Trust me, I rammed a Repentia squad into him and didn't scratch the paint.
He's literally in lore taking multiple melted guns to the face and just taking them and eating people. He's a bad dude. He doesn't play that. He ain't going out like that.
He's an unfortunate fella.
Let's start.
All right.
Chaos Knights.
So there were a lot of Chaos Knight lists. I picked one of them. I'm sorry, Grotworth's Mech Shop, but you know, what can I do?
I mean, this is all Jack. This is Jack. Yeah. Jack picks the list. Brad does Brad stuff.
I saw your list. Your list is very similar. I mean, I think it has a couple of more executioners, fewer carnivores. It's also worthy offerings. And you have an abominant, I believe. I mean, we can do a speed round of your list.
We do both. Want to compare and contrast?
Yeah. So, are you our Riptor or our Hipter or whatever? Because you were saying something about how I said that if Imperial Knights went first, Chaos Knights wouldn't take a turn. Yeah, Kit, I have experienced your Old One Eye. It's not fair. Your Old One Eye don't die. It's not cool.
Ain't going on like that. I told you.
All right, Riptor.
Ready?
All right.
Let's talk about this list first, and then we'll go into his list. We got a Knight Rampager, eager for the kill, Warp-Hunted Hull, Veil of Medringard, Blessings of the Dark Master, possibly the best upgrade in Chaos Knights. We've got a War Dog Executioner, Mirror Fates, Helm Warp Sight, 3 Carnivores, 1 Blood Shield, 3 Havoc Multi-Launchers, and then 2 units of War Dog Stalkers, and they all have multi-launchers. Yes.
Yeah, so let me, there were also there's a comment on this one. Yeah. All right. Jake B says, reasoning for the list. I figured that the Rampager is deadly enough with its stock datasheet, so I tried to take stuff to keep it alive. The Executioner will chill back at home farming CP and VP and taking pot shots at stuff. I assume since he's reaching across the board, there will be forests in the way, so the Helm of Warp Sight helps that. Stalker with the Helm of Dogs has the Feel No Pain favor to keep the hat in play long. Oh, the hat. The Helm of Dogs is the hat. Got it. Keep the hat in play longer. I like that. I'm going to use that. Stalker with Warpborn Stalker is just there because I think Warpborn Stalker is cool and I want to try it out. Ideally, I'd probably put on Executioner or Brigand, use it to get sneaky shots off, but I ran out of Lord of War slots. Deploying into Deep Strike should also help keep my deployment zone less cluttered. The Carnivores rounded out, and I gave 1 Blood Shield just in case it could get in against some hard targets. Might swap it to Throne Mechanicum of Skulls, though, for reroll charges. Had just enough points to bump all the Stubbers into Havoc Launchers. I don't know if that's good, but it was 45 unused points otherwise, so why not? I mean, that's a good reason to take Havoc Multi-Launchers. I don't hate them. If you have the extra points, screw it. So, what I would say personally is if you're taking worthy offerings, I don't think you need carnivores.
These have Melt a Spear or Chain Cannons on the Stalkers.
Stalkers are just claw and chain cannon.
Yeah.
Stalker means chain cannon.
Yep.
Yep. So, if you're taking worthy offerings, I don't think you need carnivores. The big advantage there, sure, it has +1 attack, but it also has weapon skill 2+. Now, with worthy offerings, you get +1 to hit against monsters, vehicles, and characters, i.e., pretty much everything you would need that weapon skill 2+ against. So I don't think you need carnivores in that list. So what that means is I think you can take, like, what I really love to do is just cut the Havocs and end up with like 3 Brigands, if we can swing that points.
I was just about to say that in testing with these, having just more shots and just more opportunity to do things meant more for the Chaos Knights than just running up and punching things at that point in time.
Yeah.
Because all of these guys can hit fairly hard in the first place. So.
Yeah. So I think like a unit of 3 Brigands there would go a long way for you. Just making sure we have the points, that would be 484.95 for 3 Brigands. Pulling up my calculator.
Pulling out your calculator.
495 divided by 3 is 165. It exactly fits.
Look at you. Like he was already ready for this.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And that way you have 6... Because you also don't need more combat punch. You have a Rampager. Rampager picks up literally everything in the game in combat. We can get to that as well. I actually really want to see a Knight Despoiler in here instead of the Knight Rampager. But if that's the model you have, I could totally go for it. I have been impressed with Brigands when John's run them against me. They just hit on 2s, and they slap.
I do like the Havoc multi-launchers. Just having things that can shoot random trash is a big deal.
Well, they each would have a stubber instead. A heavy stubber at strength, I believe 5.
Well, the Brigands just come with it, do they not?
Brigands come with everything comes with a heavy stubber that's strength. It's like a Diabolus heavy stubber.
Yeah, I just thought the Havoc multi-launchers just were on those guys.
No, they're not. They replaced the stubber. For 5 points. So it would be a straight swap if you cut the carnivores and the 6 Havoc multi-launchers and just replace them with Brigands. And for worthy offerings, I like that quite a lot more. So Grotworks Mech Shop says, I disagree. Worthy offerings is great and less useful on carnivores, but they go into infantry, cavalry, and such helps a lot. Carnivores also benefit from the +1 to counter things like Morty -1 and such. Sure, for sure. I'm not saying the weapon skill 2+ doesn't help sometimes. It does. What I am saying is that it makes it less valuable of a resource to have over having a gun. It means that those scales balance differently.
I do kind of like the Executioners, I'm not going to lie.
I do like the Executioners as well, and I believe they're the same points cost, so if you just want to run... you can run 2 Executioners, 2 Brigands. You can run 2 Executioners, 2 Brigands, 3 Executioners, 1 Brigand, 0 Brigands, 4 Executioners. You can do basically whatever you want.
So I dig it on this. So what are we doing with this?
Well, I would love a Despoiler to give all these guys reroll 1s to hit and shooting now at that point, and then you have the hat for reroll 1s to wound.
The hat.
And your shooting phase into a lot of things in the metagame is pretty good.
Do we want to do anything to push out and help our dread tests?
That's hard with just 1 big knight.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm just debating on it whether I just want to look at it because I mean you look at your main mechanic in Chaos Knights, you know what I mean, is that. So I just don't want to completely
I do want to take 1 guy with that extra range on the not extra range, the extra die.
The 3d6 on dread test is huge.
I really want that for sure. You could run an Abominant instead. I really like a Despoiler to give all these guys reroll 1s to hit. Or Desecrator, sorry. How could I mix those up? My bad.
Fool.
Yeah. I feel I'm so silly. No, Desecrator. do think I like a Desecrator here, along with all that shooting, and then you roll ones to hit, ones to wound, and that starts to really hurt some things. And you can take the Desecrator with like the same upgrade, Blessing of the Dark Master, for the same points cost somehow. And you could take Abaddon. You could take Abaddon if you don't want a big knight.
I mean, Abaddon does feel great in every list, let's be honest.
Yeah. Somehow, so core is not a mechanic in Chaos Knights. John told me this. Core is not a mechanic in Chaos Knights, but the Armigers have it, which means they're Chaos Core, which means Abaddon gives them real ones to hit.
I mean, and he's Abaddon.
Yes. Yeah, so that is, it's kind of silly. So
in my mind, it also seems hilarious with only knights and Abaddon by himself just yelling at knights.
Wait, the big knights have it too? John just told me the Armigers have it, but if the big knights have it too, that's hilarious. Yeah, so Abaddon gives knights reroll ones because they are core, even though core is not a mechanic referenced in the book. Yes, that's cool.
I kind of want Abaddon in this list now.
I mean, Abaddon is like 2 carnivores on crack.
I mean,
and +1 to charge.
Plus,
yeah, he's super cool.
Plus, you could just put him on the Rampager's base and just move them together.
The question is, what are we cutting for him? Because he is 300.
It is +1 to charge. That is true, also. So, plus he looks awesome.
He does look awesome. He doesn't have any of his support, which is unfortunate. He can't advance and charge.
Yeah.
He can't heal.
He doesn't have the Apostle and everybody else.
Yeah, he can't get spells cast on him. None of that. So, you may not be able to take any warlord traits or relics. I don't know. I don't mix factions anymore, so I don't really know how those rules work.
We wouldn't on that. You don't. The weird thing about it is you don't have to give him the strat anymore because of the Nephilim deal. So.
Well, you don't have to give him your warlord trait, but he does have to be your warlord.
Right. So you'd have to use CP on that.
And you lose access to your secondaries. No, that's terrible. Right. I remember
because he'd be the warlord. It's so dumb because some books are worded differently than others.
Yeah, you lose access to your secondaries. That's why I didn't put Gulliman in a Custodes list, even though I thought about it once he went down. Oh wait, no, he has the thing that means he doesn't. Sorry, this is a new book that just came out. He has the Chaos Agent of Chaos.
Agent of Chaos. It just depends on whether the book says your warlord has to be to use your secondaries. Some books have that, some books don't. I think
he's an Agent of Chaos. He doesn't block that. It's like Agent of the Imperium.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super weird. I don't personally like him without access to some of his supporting stuff, like advance and charge, etc.
I don't actually. I think it would be cool, but I don't actually like him in this list. I would just like more knights, more small knights. So yeah.
He feels like a 300-point carnivore that can't be shot and is way deadlier in combat, but moves 6 inches. And like I'm not like really here for that.
I just think I want the more knights on that.
Yeah.
I would like to have more volume of shots, so because I do think it's a big deal on that. Because when we're playing knights, we want to maximize the activations that we get per game with our low number of models. So you want to get the most touches you can get. And I already think we're hitting stuff pretty hard without the carnivores. So I would like to have a little bit more pew pew with my punch.
Yeah, I do like having Abaddon in a Chaos Knight list is totally fine. I don't have a problem with it. He's nuts.
No, the Don is amazing. For everybody, my first thoughts on any list that has chaos in it is to start with Abaddon and then do something. That is a real thing. He does look amazing, and he will just pummel you if he touches you. So that is a real thing.
He's a lot easier to deal with outside of a Chaos Marines list, though. Outside of especially a Black Legion list. A Black Legion list can heal him, so he can stand out in the open against Tau for the entire game and just waggle his eyebrows at him.
And the reroll ones would be nice. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it would be cool.
I think he also gives a unit reroll to hit, because he is Chapter Master for Chaos Core. And then if he targets himself, he rerolls hits and wounds because he's Black Legion. Like, he is dope. He is dope as hell. It's so hard to keep new rules straight, because I read that book, live on camera for 5 hours. and or not live,
Well,
but recorded
well,
on camera for 5 hours.
The thing is with it is it's weird because even because a lot of the books, they change the wording on it to fix that. But some of the books say if all of your guys are this, then you can use secondaries, and others, like Thousand Sons book says, if your warlord is Thousand Sons, you can use the secondaries. So it's just
Sometimes
it's strange.
It's very hard to keep this stuff straight, especially new books coming out.
You know, GW, because they always word everything exactly the same, right?
There is a case for keywords.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Grotworks Mech Shop here says the Desecrator is good, but makes me a tiny sad, as you want to be more back mid than in your face like the Abominant. I mean, he is weapon skill 2 on the Desecrator, so you can just still push up. You just have a gun as well. And instead of killing everything you touch and their mothers as well, you just kill everything you touch. And I think that's okay.
I would like to see the 3d6 for the dread test on him.
Yeah, I would like that. Because that just cripples some armies. Some armies just can't come back from that.
100%.
And also, you can just have moments where your opponent's like, I'm leadership 10 on these Blood Angels. I'm going to come hit you. I don't care about you. I failed the test.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I didn't make the charge, or I just shot something else. So it's kind of a big deal in that. It's not even just the effect on it. You actually make your opponent, as we talk about a lot, the threat of something a lot of times is more useful than what it actually does, because I'm not going to set up medium charges if all of a sudden I fail a roll and they just don't happen and I'm just standing in the middle of the board versus Knights.
Yeah. Knights, if you take that upgrade, there is going to be a game you win at a tournament because your opponent went for a charge and is like, oh, I guess I need a 13 now or 14. And it's just like, okay, now I can't make it. There's going to be a game where it's like, it's close. And then you just win on the spot because of it.
Yeah, I do agree that I want the 3d6 in here, probably instead of War Punted Hall. I agree with you, Grot. So it's just it's such a big deal with this. Again, and the thing is that even if they don't miss it and don't get up there, they might have to completely change the way they do their movement just because they don't want that to be a factor. You know what I mean? So I'm only going to charge things that I can get effectively directly on top of, which then limits my movement phase. You know what I mean? It just changes what I can do. So that's a big deal.
And that's not to say this list isn't good. This list can certainly put in the work. It is quite strong. I think we can just carry it a little bit over the top if we focus a little more on shooting and have a Desecrator in there to buff it. I think you're gonna find it being very very effective. I think what you do, or at least what John has been doing that has been doing really well, is you move, you post up in the center of the board on most of the objectives, you project your dread range forward, and you just absolutely start shredding people in shooting. Because reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound, stalkers and brigands and executioners really start putting in the work.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. But that's what I was talking about, is the fact that all the codices had different wordings, and then they had to say specifically, go, yeah, I know we screwed this up, but you can do it. It's from exactly on page 9 of Nephilim.
Yeah. So going back, so first off, we said we were going to do a rapid fire
compare
one for Grotworks. So I think those are the changes I would make to Jake B's list. I would swap out the Rampager for a Desecrator, and I would take the 3d6 aura. I forget what it's called. It just slides right through my smooth brain. I would swap out the Havoc multi-launchers, and I would replace the Carnivores with either Brigands or Executioners or more Stalkers if you are just that committed to Stalker life. I do like Brigands or Executioners. Both of them are good anti-tank. So looking very quickly at Grotworks' list in the Discord under the name Ripter, Jack Harpster, you said Imperial Knights would not give Chaos Knights a turn if they went first. I think there is a list that can work against that. Meet my current Chaos Knight list that I've had some success, though my skill level is still lacking. All right, and the name of the list is Firepower.
Firepower? P-O-W-A?
Firepower with an H at the end. Yes.
It gives it a little bit more oomph.
A little bit more oomph. Just lets you know that they're serious. So looking at the list, It is a Knight Abominant with an Aura of Terror. And Soul Raptor Swarm, Blessings of the Dark Master, because, I mean, everyone has that nowadays.
Blessing of the Dark
Vortex
Master is an
Terrors.
auto. If you don't have it in your list, fix your list and put it in.
Yeah, it's so good. Vortex Terrors, Winds of the Warp, and he's worthy offerings as well, which I think is the best way to go. I like worthy offerings quite a lot. 3 Executioners, one of them has Mirror of Fates. 2 Stalkers, one of them has Blessing. You're going to have to tell me what these do. John is the Chaos Knights guy. Blessing of 1,000 Poxes on one of the Stalkers. Another 2 Stalker squad with Quicksilver Throne on one of them. Another Stalker, so 5 Stalkers total, with the Helm of Dogs. And then a super heavy Ox, which is free.
What house are we anyways with every this stuff?
Worthy offering. So +1 to hit against vehicles, monsters, and characters. And if you kill any of those, you are automatically considered, your offering is accepted. So, and then two carnivores, one of them has Beguiling Majesty. So we have an Abominant, 3 Executioners, 5 Stalkers, 2 carnivores. So Grotworks says 1,000 Pox is the auto wound on 6s in melee, and favored is auto wound on 6s to hit in range. So
yeah, I'm literally I'm looking all of these up for you to make sure.
Thanks, Chief. Well, Grotworks is doing that in chat.
Perfect. I don't have to do it anymore. Let's be lazy.
Right. So we have 3 Executioners, 5 Stalkers, 2 Carnivores, and an Abominant. So here's the thing about if you play that into Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights shooting is gross into specifically the kind of profile that Armigers have. Like, specifically into 12 wounds means 4 shots go through off of Helverins. Tried to translate the name. If 4 wounds go through on Helverins, you're dead. Which means with all the buffs, 6s to hit auto wound, 6s to hit explode, reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound, reroll a hit or a wound, or +1 to wound, or +1 to hit, and then all that other stuff that you can layer on top of each other. With all of that, then the average, believe it or not, is a Helverin shoots and an Armiger dies. And that is just not something you can take going second unless you have some kind of hyper defensive build for Chaos Knights. The best you can do, really, and this is not